Kelly McHugh. I'm the founder of Digital Yoga Academy. And today's topic, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 online offerings that are not a drop-in Zoom class. Okay, so I'm sharing 4 types of online yoga offerings that are not an online drop-in class. Before we dive in, let's just talk for a moment about the drop-in class, right? The drop-in class. So as we know, most teachers transitioned online in 2020, okay? And the first port of call was Zoom. Do you have a weekly Zoom class schedule? Yeah, are you currently hosting classes online via Zoom? Or maybe it's another platform that you're using, but something similar to Zoom. Are you running a class schedule? If you have a drop-in class, an online drop-in class, what are you charging for that drop-in class? So Zoom has been the go-to, hasn't it, for setting up classes and hosting your weekly drop-in class schedules. And from what we saw, there was a ton of energy being spent setting up these classes and running them and retaining students and attracting new students into your classes. And studios closed the door, and it brought an influx of teachers taking their classes online. And of course, facing that new challenge of building their communities and creating their own schedules. So this was an incredible pivot, right? I really see this as the pivot of 2020 in the yoga space, in the yoga industry. Teachers coming out of the studios because the studios were closing their doors, and then creating their own communities online and running online classes. Okay, it was a big pivot, a big shift. And it was incredible how you all did that, right? So you should really give yourself a pat on the back, because you did, you just went for it. I saw it in the space, I saw that happening. But let's just rewind prior to 2020 and just remind ourselves what the yoga space was like before this pivot online. And the main issue or challenge that teachers were facing back then was this issue of teaching 15 to 20 classes a week in a studio. Were you that teacher that was running around town from studio to studio and, notching up as many classes as you could during the week? And we know that story, we know that it's not sustainable, it leads to burnout. And when we hear about yoga teacher burnout, it's from that scenario that it happens, that exhaustion of trying to teach 15 to 20 classes a week, right? And so we're not doing that. We're not coming from a scarcity mindset here. We believe that there's more than enough people out there for our online yoga classes, okay? And if you do the work to understand who your people are and to grow your community, you can certainly fill your online offerings. But the other key thing that's happened is that mentally, emotionally, and physically, we're all trying to cope with the impact of a pandemic, okay? We're coming out the back end of a pandemic. And it's a pandemic that took our loved ones, it impacted our jobs, it's changed the way we've been living, with homeschooling, working from home, and so on. And for most of us, it's been one of the most challenging life events that we've experienced. It's had an impact on every part of our life, right? And therefore, it's had an impact on our well-being. There's no doubt about that. It's had an impact. And actually, I think we are yet to see the impact of that, of the last couple of years, the impact on societal mental health. And there are studies out there. There's studies out there that are looking at the long-term mental health impact of this pandemic. You just have to Google it. Go and Google it and you'll find them. And it doesn't paint a good picture. Our mental health as a human race has been impacted severely. And so what does this mean, right? What does this mean for people like you? For yoga teachers, for the healers, those people who are in, holistic well-being, healthcare, of course, it's going to put more strain on healthcare providers, but it's also going to mean that there's more demand for the services of anyone that's working in this space to support people's mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And that includes you, right? That includes the world's yoga teachers. And I really believe, that all of us here have an important mission right now. Yeah, we have an important mission. I truly believe that this is part of my mission. Like, this is why Digital Yoga Academy exists, seriously. And it's, you have to ask yourself, why does your yoga business exist right now? Why? What is the mission that you're on? Because I don't think this is by accident. Like, the fact that you're here right now is for a reason, isn't it? And I believe the reason is that you're being called to show up now in a different way. And I don't believe that the way is what we were doing before. Okay, so if you think about it, when I painted the picture of what was happening before 2020 and what's happening now, we've replicated a weekly in-person schedule to a weekly online schedule via Zoom. Is not much different, when you think of it like that. And the world needs more than that right now. Like, we've seen proof of it, because numbers in Zoom are dwindling. Like, teachers are reporting that, this Zoom fatigue, and classes were full at the start of the pandemic, and, numbers have been falling off. And it's no surprise, really. People have been spending their lives on Zoom over the last couple of years, living in isolation. And, what we're really craving more than anything right now is actually connection and community. For us as yoga teachers, we need to look at how we can offer that connection and that community to our students. And I really believe this is what you've been called in to do. Like, this is why you're listening to this right now. Like, we have a job to do, and it's exciting. Like, it's exciting, but it means that we need to shed layers. Like, look at who we are now and who we need to be in this new world. Like, if your purpose is to help people to heal or transform in some way, like, how are you going to do that? Like, how are you really going to do that? Is the kind of drop-in Zoom class really going to create that impact that you want to create in your students' lives? Like, probably not, So we really need to look at how we can now start to show up differently, okay? We need to show up in a different capacity, okay? The yoga teacher really is the guide, right? Is the mentor, the coach that's supporting people to reach a transformation in their lives. So ask yourself a question. What is the transformation that my students are looking for? What are the results that they're looking for right now? Like, what are they? Do you know this? Do you know this? If you don't, it's the first place to start, isn't it? It's the place that you need to start to truly understand who your students are and how you can support them on a deeper level. Like, do they suffer with extreme anxiety or PTSD, or, are they looking to be free from addiction, or are they work from home mothers who are homeschooling right now, or, and they need accountability for their own self-care and their downtime? Have they recently had a baby? Do they have an injury? Like, have they recently recovered from illness? Are they going through menopause? Like, there's so many things that people are going through. Do you understand what brings your students together? And have you done that work to understand that? Because that's where you start, choosing a niche, deciding on a niche, looking at what you're really passionate about, exploring your own journey, your own experience, because quite often, 90% of the time, it will be that you are supporting people to go through the journey that you've already been on, right? You're supporting people to go from point A, which is this sticky place where you once were, to point B, where they want to be and where you are now. What is the journey that they're currently on, okay, that's calling them to be transformed in some way and to get some kind of result? Because you have the tools, right? You have the tools. You have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the expertise to actually support people in this capacity. Don't forget that. Like, this don't forget your armory, I want to call it, and this is why you're perfectly positioned to actually do this. I'm going to be sharing 4 ways that you can do this today, but I wanted to, as always, just set the scene and talk about, the reason why we need to be moving away from just offering a drop-in class on Zoom. Right? Of course you can offer it, and I'll talk about that in a moment and how you can do it in a more strategic way. But, if you're doubting your place in the world right now, like your role, you need to stop doubting, okay? Because it's clear you have the tools. I feel like it's our duty that we have to really step up now and do something with the expertise and the knowledge and the tools that we have. So it's more than being just a yoga teacher, isn't it? You have the opportunity to really guide and support your students on a much deeper level. Yeah. And to do that inside an offering that isn't just a drop-in class. Okay. An offering that allows you to actually position yourself as an expert on your topic and to elevate your authority in your niche space. You can do this. This is definitely something that you can do, and there's lots of ways that you can do it. And as I said, it's not a drop-in class. Okay, now we have to get creative and look at what it could be. So this is how you attract your people. This is how you stand out in a sea of Zoom classes, right? A sea of Zoom classes, the deep ocean of Zoom classes. This is how you become the big fish in the pond, right? Instead of the small fish in the ocean, right? This is how we niche down and become an expert in our space, the big fish in the pond. And how essentially you start to convert your community into paying students and retain them, because your students, they likely have Zoom fatigue, and they want to show up for something different as well. They're looking for something different. Have you ever provided something different? A lot of teachers will say, well, my classes are dwindling, Zoom fatigue is setting in. Well, have you done something about it? Did you look at it and create something new? And if you didn't, then there's your answer. You have to do something different, right? You have to, because if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. And that's a fact, right? So your students need more. They need to feel activated, and they need accountability. They need a motivation and support in a different way, in a new and meaningful way. And ultimately, they're looking for transformation, right? They're looking for that. That's the most important thing. It really, really is. You need to know what that is. So you need to know who they are. Yeah, as I said before, understanding who your ideal students are, how you can support them, what is the problem, the issue, the need that they have. How can you solve that? With your offering, how can you create more powerful messaging and marketing? Because marketing is how you communicate that problem that you solve. Essentially, that's all it is. We overthink it and we think it's really difficult. It's just about you honing in on a message, which means you need to narrow in on a specific problem that you can solve. And that's how people take notice. That's how people pay attention and actually see your message, because you're moving away from this very general message. Come to my yoga class Saturday morning, 10 a.m. It's not going to it's not going to do what it needs to do, right? It's not going to cut through the noise, and you start to become more specific, right? More specialized. That's how you succeed online, in this online space. And once you know what the results are that your students are looking for, then you can start to create these offerings to provide solutions. Okay, so let's move into that. I've definitely set the scene here. 4 types of online offerings that are not a drop-in class. And the first, some of you guessed correctly, the first is an online membership. Okay, so some kind of monthly subscription into a membership with you. Okay, and this is pretty simple. Okay, if you already have drop-in classes, if you already offer live classes during the week, these become part of your membership. Okay, and you can be really strategic here with your pricing. So let's just say that your membership is $30 a month, okay? It could be more, of course, but let's just say that. Let's just say that your membership is $30 a month. You provide a drop-in class, okay, and you price that as $15, let's say. And then you communicate the benefits of your membership. So let's say that your membership, you price it at $30 a month. And then on your page, on your website, where you have all your offerings, you list that you have a drop-in class and you price that at like $15 a month, okay? Now I know from supporting hundreds of yoga teachers that you guys have been pricing your drop-in Zoom classes at like $6 or $7, right? So it's time to raise that price, because actually you don't want someone to join your drop-in class, really. You want someone to come into your membership, right? You want someone to come into your subscription. So you strategically price your drop-in class at $15. And then you market, okay, i.e. you communicate the benefits of the membership. Yeah, you communicate the benefits of the membership. And if that membership is $30, well, it's the cost of 2 drop-in classes, isn't it? But what else can they access as part of that membership? Okay, so this is where you really look at increasing that perceived value. So maybe, there's 3 live classes a week that they can join. Maybe they're getting access to all of the replays. Perhaps you have a back library from all the previous classes that they can also get access to. Maybe there's a Facebook group, okay, so that they can connect with other members. Perhaps you go live in that group once a month to, share a masterclass on a topic that they're interested in. You need to know what your niche is, like what's their needs, what's their desires. Perhaps they receive a workbook each month that's tied into a theme for the month. You can build out a valuable membership pretty quickly. Okay, and you can use your pricing to show that your membership is actually the best and most valuable option for them. Okay, so when they're considering working with you because they've been in your space, you've been sharing brilliant content, they like you, they connect with you, they trust you, you're doing all of that, right? You're doing all of that, and they want to work with you. They've decided they want to work with you. They go over to your website to see what offers you have for them. When they're weighing it up and they're looking at that drop-in class for $15, actually, they're looking now at the online membership and seeing that that's actually the most cost-effective and most valuable option. And, perhaps you have a 7-day trial for your membership. Suddenly you're getting new students coming into your membership who want to be part of something bigger. They want that connection and community, remember, that we talked about. This is a very, very viable option and something that you can do, this, right? The most simple version is you providing access to lives and replays as a subscription, right? That's the most simple way that you could actually do this. And then putting the price up of your drop-in, right? So that your subscription or membership is the go-to option. And it's recurring revenue, right? It's month on month. It's a monthly revenue for you. So that's the first offering that I wanted to share with you today. And the second offering that you could create is an online workshop, okay? Or a workshop series, okay? So maybe it's like 3 workshops that your students can take, perhaps they're 1 a month or 1 a week over a course of a 3-week period. Maybe it's over a 6-week period. Of course, you get to decide what that is. But it's a workshop where you can really build on something and explore a specific topic. This is a really easy way to actually launch something new in your business. Like, it's super, super easy, right? You're not having to go and look for venues to host your workshop and have that cost of a venue. Like, you're doing this online, and by putting yourself out there as the creator of a workshop series, like you are elevating yourself as an authority on that topic. That is powerful. That's powerful, guys. Like, even if no one signs up, you promoting this is you stepping into this new space, isn't it? Stepping into doing something new, stepping up and saying, hey, I've got something valuable here that I want to share with you, and I can support you in this capacity. Like, it's you leveling up, even just putting it out there. Like, it's a great start, isn't it? It's a great start to doing something new, like doing something different. You know, as I said before, like if we do the same that we've been doing, we're going to get the same results. So just have a think about, you know, what you could teach in a workshop or three, yeah, in a workshop series. I really like the idea of a workshop series where you can really just like build on something in each workshop and just really start to go a little bit deeper into the topic that you're supporting your students with. Like, what would help your students to learn something new and give them some results? Okay, like how can you educate them? Yeah, this isn't just about sharing a yoga class and being on the mat. How can you educate and share your knowledge in different ways? And a workshop is a great opportunity for like breakout sessions and for discussion on specific topics and for that connection and community with other students that people are really kind of seeking right now. So the third online offering is to work with your students one-to-one. Yeah, to work with your students one-to-one. So you may have already done this, and you know, maybe you've been offering private yoga classes in person or via Zoom. Yeah, maybe you've been doing that. You've been offering private yoga classes as maybe it's like a package that people pay for. But can you now shift how you think about it? Okay, so if you've been offering private yoga classes, it's literally like, you know, sign up for 5 private yoga classes and that's what you're doing. You're like teaching them one-to-one. Can you now shift how you think about it to create a personalized program for your students, okay, that, yes, involves teaching them yoga, but how can you create something even more valuable for them? Yeah, by really understanding in a deeper way the results that they're looking for in their lives. Yeah, is there any additional education that you can offer them, or, you know, additional resources that would be really helpful during the one-to-one program with you? And, you know, remember, you know, if you've had results yourself by using the methods that you teach and that you're passionate about, or, you know, you've helped other people to get results, then you can certainly like support your students in this capacity, right? You can certainly support them. So have you decided on a niche? Because if you want to work online, it's the number one thing that you need to do. Like, it's the first thing that you need to do. You need to start working on deciding. Yeah, deciding. I don't want to say finding. It's not about finding. It's about deciding. Deciding on a niche. And so if you've done that, then you're likely, you know, you've likely done it in an area that you're extremely passionate and knowledgeable in. So you know what you're talking about. So how can you bring that, you know, bring that off the mat, you know, to support your students in a one-to-one capacity? Moving on to offering number 4, an online course. Okay, so it's of course an online course. So this is where you take the method, the methodology, the framework, you know, what you teach, that what you're truly passionate about. And perhaps you've been teaching it in the one-to-one capacity that we just talked about, but you turn it into a group course, an online course. And actually, you know, working one-to-one can actually help you to test and validate the ideas that you have for an online course, which means that when you develop your course, it's going to be much quicker. Yeah, it's going to be much faster when you actually start creating it, because you've done some of the validation work from working with your students one-to-one. So if you're thinking about creating an online course in the future and it feels like a dream right now, Start working with students one-to-one. Yeah, start doing that now. So an online course, this is one of my favorite topics. This is a truly scalable offering, okay, that will completely change your business. Completely change your business. It will change your life. Yeah. And this course is something that guides your students from point A, okay, I talked about this before, which is that sticky, heavy place that they are right now, to point B, okay, where they're free of whatever it is that's, heavy over here in point A, okay, so they're free of that. They've found results, okay, through your course. You've guided them through, okay, so maybe they're free of any, heavy emotion or stress or anxiety, something that was holding them back, right, and holding them back from moving forward. And one thing I want to mention here is that your course needs to address a problem or a need. Yeah? A problem or a need. When we think of problems, we're thinking of anxiety, stress, trauma, all of those things, right? Health-related, mentally, emotionally, physically related issues, okay? It could also be that they have a need and a desire to nail a handstand, okay? And you are a passionate inversions junkie who teaches inversions. Like, that's what you love doing, and you're an absolute boss at it. Like, you're an absolute expert. You're in your space doing that. That's what your messaging and everything you create and share is all about. And you've created an online course for those other yogis out there who also want to nail a handstand. Yeah, it's solving a problem. So don't always think that the problem to be solved is one that's health related, okay? In most cases, it probably is, but sometimes we can get so stuck in what the problem is that we're solving, okay? So if you can identify a need, that needs solving, you're onto something, okay? We're moving people from point A to point B, okay? So probably you've been where they were, right? And now you can guide them to the place that they desire to be, okay? An online course or an online program, whatever you want to call it, it's a digital asset, right? You create it, and you can sell it again and again and again. Now, from experience of creating my own online courses and programs, and from teaching hundreds of teachers how to do this inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher, the most effective types of online courses have a mixture of pre-recorded content and live content with a community alongside it. Yeah, a community of like-minded people going through that same journey from A to B. So the great thing about it is that you do all of that hard work up front, right? You create your content, you create everything, you create your platform that's going to host your content. You do all of the work up front to create this digital asset that you can sell again and again and again and again. This is about creating a sustainable business, right? It's about creating a business that's not going to lead to burnout and exhaustion and relies on you running around the place or being in Zoom constantly. And, of course, it's hard work, guys. I'm not going to say that this is like something that happens overnight. It certainly isn't. However, can you see from what I've shared today that you can layer up your offerings? Yeah, you can layer up your offerings. You can have the drop-in classes strategically priced. You can have your membership that you start to build up. You can have monthly workshops that you create that you can actually use as a way to test out ideas for your online course, because in the future you're going to be creating that course. You can start to work with students one-to-one. Hey, you can create and host retreats, right? We're not saying that everything has to be online. Certainly not. How can you create a product offering that works together in a way that you can actually start to build a sustainable business, right? So the online course, we're building up to it, right? We're working towards it. And it does take some work. It takes some grit. It takes a lot of understanding. There's a lot of steps involved, and you have to grow a community. And that's why, I've mentioned it already a couple of times today, but that's why it's so important that you do the work on your niche. Like to succeed online, you must have a niche, right? It's essential. You must know who you're serving and how you're serving them. We must start thinking beyond the drop-in class. Yeah, how can we become more strategic in our business and offer more value and ultimately more impact, right? How can we impact our students' lives in a more powerful way? Because that's why we're doing this, right? That's why you are doing this. Tell me why you became a yoga teacher. It's because you want to create impact. I'm sure that that's your answer. And, we have a number of different programs running here through Digital Yoga Academy, and the students inside Yogipreneur Launchpad, which this program is a 4-month program. It actually started at the beginning of March. Those students are learning about how to grow their communities online and how to sell offerings such as workshops, memberships, one-to-one programs. They're learning all of that goodness, all of that good stuff, and how to actually sell. And then the students inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher program go much deeper into course creation and launching. Okay, it's really a deep dive because there's an art to creating and launching a profitable online yoga course. And, you can very quickly craft a workshop offering, right? And get it up on your website and get onto stories and do some social posts and send an email out. You can very, very quickly do that today. Like you could today, in fact, a little challenge for you. Think about a workshop. Think about what you would like to teach in an online workshop. Can you create some copy for that? Stick it up onto your website and start sharing it. You can very quickly do that. An online course, on the other hand, has many moving parts, okay? Many steps that you need to take in order to grow the right community for your course, okay? And nurture that audience so that they go on that journey with you to actually enroll. And there's, the process of validating and creating your course so that you're actually confident that you're launching something and there's a demand for it. Yeah, there's a process to do that. In terms of your promotion, there's different phases, okay? There's an education phase, a pre-launch phase, a launch phase. Each phase is different. It has different messaging, different activities, different steps. And so there's a lot more that goes into it. And I cover all of that inside a 6-month program, okay? This is how comprehensive it is. It's a 6-month program, the Profitable Yoga Teacher. The waitlist is open. Get on the waitlist right now. And we start that program, the next group, the next cohort starts in June, okay? The next program starts in June. So the waitlist is open and you can lock in a $500 discount to get on when you get on the wait list. All you have to do at this point is just pop your name on the wait list. So there's support is what I'm trying to say here. There's support if you recognize that you don't have that support right now. Like if you recognize that you need to do something different to what you've been doing, there's support and we have different programs to help you with that. And maybe if you are a brand new teacher and you don't really have an online community right now, then Yogipreneur Launchpad is the place to be. That will be opening for enrollment in a couple of months' time as well. And, if you're a little bit further ahead and you are ready to get into the world of online courses, then the Profitable Yoga Teacher is the course for you, is the program for you. So what I want you guys to remember is that the world is going through a transformation, okay? And it needs healers, guides, coaches, teachers, educators, mentors, whatever you want to call yourself, but it needs these people, okay, to support this transformation. And, you know, I'm showing up in my role, right, in my capacity right now to be able to guide you. And it's up to you to hear that call and actually connect to your true purpose and the impact that you really want to create in the world. Because there's never been like a better time to do that than now. Okay, we know this, right? We know this. You know, in our hearts, we know this. So if you're feeling, you know, any resistance, and you quite possibly are, it's about your identity. Like, who are you identifying with right now? And who do you need to identify as to actually position yourself as a leader of a transformational online course? From an entrepreneurial perspective, like, we can't simply wait this one out. Like, the time is now for us to do something and for us to truly support our communities and to support ourselves. Like, I always see the Zoom classes like stage 1, and now we're moving into stage 2. Okay, so how are you going to take it up a notch? Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you now going to serve your community in a deeper way? You know, keeping in mind everything that I've shared today and what we've looked at today, what we've explored, right? So, you know, if you're still doubting it and you've got your Zoom drop-in class, ask yourself, is my Zoom drop-in class really serving my students and my community in the very best way possible? Or do my students need more than that to support them? Ask them. Ask them. You know, have you asked them? Have you reached out to them? Or have you watched the numbers dwindle and you've just not explored why? Because we need to explore why. Yeah. Interesting topic today, and thank you for being here with me. As I said, you know, I truly believe that this is no accident that we're here, and actually that it's no accident that I created the Profitable Yoga Teacher Program, which specifically focuses on creating and launching online courses. No accident at all. Like, I feel like I've been preparing for this so that I could be prepared for you, yeah? So I could give you the right tools and the strategies that you need to be able to share yoga further and wider around the world and help and support more and more people. You know, that's what we're here to do. Thanks for being here. I'm here every week, every Wednesday. There's also the Yogipreneur podcast, so you can listen every week. There's a new episode. Get onto our email list. I share content every single week on via email, and keep showing up for yourself. As I said, we have a job to do. We have a job to do. So let's do it together and support one another and just be part of an incredible community that is really showing up to make change in the world and to really create impact in the world. Sending you all so much love. Bye.